What is going on, everyone? Let's talk about the cheapest and the most expensive states we have here in the US. The cost of living is a great stat that doesn't really tell the average person much. It's a nice way to rank places, but what does it really tell you? Luckily, if you look at the US Census Bureau's American Community Survey, you can find out how much a buck will get you. Actually, it tells you the real value of $100 compared to the average in the United States. Really, the cost of living is a subject that can include far too much math to make a video enjoyable. Maybe you're someone that would enjoy that video if you have a dating profile that says you enjoy puppies, sunsets, the Hallmark Channel, advanced mathematical concept, partial differential equations, and statistics. That person might really like a whole video on how you break down the cost of living. We're not doing that here. Today's video has all 50 states, and it will be a little faster paced than normal. That's what I normally do when we list all 50 states. Okay, from best to worst, let's see what the real value of $100 is in each state. Number 1. Starting off our list is our old friend Mississippi. If Mississippi is anything, it is a cheap place to live. Matter of fact, $100 is worth $116.25. So you can buy some extra sweet tea in Mississippi. Here's your brain check question. On February 14th, 2005, YouTube was founded. What was $100 then worth today? We'll give you the answer after number 49. Number 2, Arkansas. The natural state is a pretty cheap place to live. Besides their dollar carrying a little more value than most states, Arkansas has a lot of outdoor activities to do that don't cost you a dime. That's one of the things they lead the country in. $100 is worth $115.30 in Arkansas. Number 3, Alabama. The Yellowhammer State is a cheap place to live like most southern states. In Alabama, $100 is worth $114.55. You can buy like few extra of those window flags that say Roll Tide so you can go to the game. Drive around town, letting everyone know you're a big fan of Alabama. Number 4, West Virginia. That's right, the Mountain State is a cheap place to live. If you didn't know that already, you haven't been paying attention. $100 is worth $112.90. Number 5, Oklahoma. The Sooner State is a cheap place to live. That's one of the best things about this place. Sure, it's in Tornado Alley, but it's still a great place to live. Good people here. $100 is worth $112.80 in Oklahoma. Number 9, Kentucky. Number 6, Kentucky. They're backwards, so I might as well be backwards, I guess. Anyway, Kentucky's a pretty cheap place to live. That whole section of the country is. Get closer to the East Coast, it gets a little more expensive, but $100 is worth $112.60 in Kentucky. Number 7, South Dakota. South Dakota's getting a better reputation and more people are moving there. I don't know how much longer this is going to be the case, but $100 will get you $112.20 in South Dakota. Number 8, Louisiana. If you're looking to save a buck, Louisiana is a great place to move. Their land's cheap. They get paid okay. Sure, they got some really nasty towns in some places, but their wages are okay. They're an inexpensive state to live, and $100 is worth $112.15. Think of all the extra crawfish you could buy with that. Number 9, Ohio. Ohio is another state that's pretty inexpensive to live, mainly because it's in the Rust Belt. Most Rust Belt states and most southern states are pretty expensive places to live. In most cases, I should say. In Ohio, $100 will get you $112. So you could buy extra throat lozenges when you go hoarse, screaming at your TV as the Cleveland Browns lose again. Number 10, Missouri. The Show Me State will show you some value. Thanks, I'll be here all week. Missouri has cheap land, good people, and, low cost of living. $100 will get you $111.30. Number 11, Indiana. Indiana has some pretty expensive cities, but they have even more really cheap small towns, and that kind of brings their average down. In the Hoosier State, $100 will get you $111.30, just like Missouri. Number 12, Iowa. If Iowa wasn't cheap, nobody would want to live there. It's kind of a boring state to live in. Well, I shouldn't say anybody. If you're really someone that just wants to settle down and not have any excitement in your life, move to Iowa. Number 13, Kansas. Kansas and Iowa are always very similar in their stats and their people and the way the state looks. And sure, if you talk to people from Kansas or Iowa, they're going to tell you they're very, very different. It's kind of like twins. If they're not your twins or you're not one of the twins, you can't tell the difference between them. They can tell the difference. You can't. Iowa and Kansas are always right next to each other. But in this case, Kansas is 20 cents cheaper. 100 bucks is worth $110.80 in Kansas. Number 14, North Dakota. North Dakota is one of those states that not a lot of people move to, so it's cheap to live there. 100 bucks in North Dakota is worth $110.70. Number 15, Nebraska. Again, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, they're like the triad of boredom. 100 bucks in Nebraska is worth $110.50. Number 16, Tennessee. Tennessee is one of those states that I don't think is going to be as cheap as they are right now for much longer. I mean, it's become a more and more popular state in the last decade or so. It's a great place to live and a relatively inexpensive place to live. 100 bucks is worth $110.30 in Tennessee. Number 17, New Mexico. Of course, New Mexico is cheap. Nobody wants to live there. I mean, if it wasn't cheap, you'd probably just have angry old men who believe in aliens and are angry at the government living there like hermits out in the middle of the desert. But 100 bucks in New Mexico is worth $109 even. Number 18, South Carolina. South Carolina has some places that are pretty expensive. Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, they're all right on the ocean, so those are going to be expensive. Everything inland is pretty cheap, and it shows. 100 bucks in South Carolina is worth $108.50. Number 19, North Carolina. Move up one state and it costs just a little bit more, not much. There's like a 20-cent difference. $100 in North Carolina is worth $108.30. Number 20, Wisconsin. I'm surprised at this one. Wisconsin's a great state to live and a lot of people have been moving there recently, but they're still relatively inexpensive. 100 bucks in Wisconsin is worth $108.10. Number 21, Idaho. Again, it's become very popular in recent years, and I'm sure maybe 10 years ago they would have been earlier on the list, but here they are at 21. Respectable. The real value of $100 in Idaho is $107.80. Now, I say worth on this video a lot, and I've said the real value. It's technically the real value of it is what they considered, but worth is the same thing. No need to leave a comment on that one. 22, Michigan. Flint and Detroit help bring down the average here in Michigan. Obviously, they bring down just about every other stat, and here they are with this one. 100 bucks in Michigan is worth $107.70. Number 23, Wyoming. Sparsely populated, a lot of open land. I think Wyoming's on the short list of states that are about to blow up and everyone's going to start moving there, so I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be inexpensive. 100 bucks in Wyoming is worth $107.20. 24, Georgia. Georgia's another one where you have a couple cities like Savannah, Atlanta, even Athens that are a little more expensive than the rest of the state. But they got a lot of areas in Georgia that are really, really inexpensive places to live. 100 bucks in Georgia is worth $106.80. Number 25, Montana. Montana's been seeing some growth in recent years, so they're getting a little more expensive, but they're still, a cheaper place to live. 100 bucks in Montana is worth $106.50. 26, Arizona. Arizona used to be a lot cheaper, but they're getting closer to being average. 100 bucks in the Grand Canyon State is worth $103.70. 27, Utah. We just talked about Utah in a video not too long ago. They're slowly moving up the cost of living chart. I mean, they're getting closer towards the top 10 every single year. The real value of 100 bucks in the Beehive State is $103.50. 28, Texas. This one kind of surprised me because with the popularity they've seen in the last decade, I thought, 100 bucks wouldn't go as far as it does here. The real value of $100 in Texas is $103.50. 29, Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania. I'm kind of shocked they're not more expensive. Sure, they got places like Philly, which has some really nasty areas, and Pittsburgh and a few other places that are expensive, but they have a lot of small, beautiful rural towns that are relatively inexpensive to live. The real value of 100 bucks in Pennsylvania is $103 even. 30, Nevada. Other than the Las Vegas metro area, Reno, and a place that stores aliens, this place is just dirt and rocks and a giant cement dam. So of course it's going to be cheaper than most states. The real value of 100 bucks in Nevada is $102.60. 31, Illinois. If they could just cut Chicago out of this one, they would move way up on this list and be a lot more affordable. But here they are. 100 bucks is worth $102.60 in Illinois. 32, Minnesota. You need a little extra money in Minnesota to buy like sweaters and scarves. They get some pretty cold winters. But the real value of $100 in Minnesota is $102 even. 33, Maine. We're getting closer to the almost even, where $100 is worth $100. Everything after the next two, it's actually you're not getting the whole $100. You'll see. The real value of $100 in Maine is $100.70. 34, Delaware. Delaware's the last state on this list where you get a little extra value for your $100. The real value of $100 in Delaware is $100.60. 35, Florida. You got areas like Miami, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa. Those places are pretty expensive. The inner part of Florida is pretty cheap, so those places bring up the average. And the real value of $100 in Florida is $99. So you lose a whole buck. 36, Rhode Island. Not much to say here, except the real value of $100 is $98.70 in Rhode Island. Virginia. Virginia's been getting more popular recently, and I'm sure that's hurting their cost of living. The real value of $100 in Virginia is $98.70. 38, Colorado. I'm surprised they're this early on the list. I thought they'd be a lot more expensive. The real value of $100 in Colorado is $98.04. 39, Oregon. Yeah, Oregon used to be a lot more affordable. These days, not so much. You're losing some money with every $100 you spend. The real value of $100 in Oregon is $96.20. Number 40, Vermont. Vermont's one of those states that have all the right stats in all the right places until you get to money. Money, it's a little expensive, but people still love this place and a lot of people are still moving there. The real value of $100 in Vermont is $96.90. 41, Connecticut. Yeah, this is a weird state. I mean, besides their love of Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, I'm sorry, they've recently dropped the word donuts from their name. It's just Dunkin'. The real value of $100 in Connecticut is $95. 42, Alaska. Alaska's expensive because most everything has to be shipped long distance to get there that isn't like moose meat or salmon. The real value of $100 in Alaska is $94.90. 43, New Hampshire. New Hampshire is, it's an expensive place to live. It's a nice place to live. It's just expensive. $100 is worth $93.50 in New Hampshire. 44, Maryland. Anytime you run into a coastal state, it's going to be expensive. Maryland is no exception. The real value of $100 in Maryland is $92.30. 45, Washington. Some organizations consider Washington the best state to move to right now. That's an opinion, but the real value of $100 in Washington is $91.60. When you're good, you're not cheap. 46, Massachusetts. I think Boston and a few other places are what really drive the cost up here. The real value of $100 in Massachusetts is $89.60. 47, New Jersey. There's no logical reason New Jersey should be expensive other than it's on the coast. It's got some coastline, that's it. And it's an expensive state to live in. Both taxes, real estate, and just general cost of living, goods and services. The real value of $100 in New Jersey is $84 even. 48, New York. Like Illinois with Chicago, if you could take New York City out of the equation for New York State, they'd be doing a lot better because New York City is one of the most expensive places to live in the nation. $100 is worth about $83.70 in New York State. 49, California. This should not be a surprise to anyone. I mean, other than the fact they're not number one. California has a great economy, great jobs, beautiful coastline, so it's going to be expensive. It's got a lot of problems too, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, but I'm just telling you why it's expensive. It is expensive because they've got a lot of pluses too. The real value of $100 in California is $83.60. All right, before we get to number one, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day, and the answer to your brain check question, $100 on February 14th, 2005, when YouTube was founded, is now worth $142.32. All right, on to number 50. And number 50, Hawaii. I've said it before, Hawaii is expensive for everything except for, sunshine and Spam. Pineapples are pretty cheap there too. Everything else is pretty expensive. Like Alaska, because you gotta ship everything there. That isn't produced there, and not a lot is produced there. They do produce a lot of skin cancer there, so that's something. The real value of $100 in Hawaii is $80.70. You're not getting much for your $100 there. All right, that's today's list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.